That's Drake, and hold on, we're going home right here on Nile FM Drive.
No,
no, it's good. It's good. I'm joined in the studio by Tania Saleh, who did not know we were going to conduct the interview in English. So I caught her off guard, and I don't think she's happy with me. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. But I would rather speak in Arabic when I'm in Egypt. So I don't know what to say. But because you're a nice guy and everyone is. So
thank you so much. I sometimes would rather speak in Arabic as well, but it's just because it's an English station, so they force me to speak in English. I'm
ما شفت الفرد براسك
contractually obligated to speak in English. So I'm just gonna go straight into this, and I'm gonna ask you. You started doing music at a young age, but when did you know that this music is what you wanted to do and what you wanted to build your life around?
I was working in an advertising company for a long time, like for 20 years, and for in advertising you need to write jingles a lot. So when I wrote my first jingle, I noticed that I can maybe try to write songs, and that's how I started.
That's nice. Is anyone else in your family musically inclined, or is it just you?
There's a cousin that is a great musician, and that's it. I mean, my mother used to sing at home just when she was washing the dishes and stuff like that.
Was it good?
Yeah, she was good.
That's good.
And it's good that she was singing, because she taught me a lot while she was singing. So
and how did they feel about you choosing music as a career?
Horrible.
Really?
That was not a good idea.
They weren't happy about it?
And then I told them that if I'm not going to go into music, I'm going to go into arts. So they said, it's even worse.
But you did study arts, right?
Yes.
In Paris, right?
Yes.
You studied art.
I did fine arts in Lebanon, then I did art plastique in Paris.
And you lived on a boat.
Yes,
so far,
it was
I've been
fantastic.
told that you lived on a boat on a river.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But try to draw or paint on a boat. It's
yes,
not
of course.
easy. So I had to leave, like after 6 months I left.
Yeah, I'm thinking you know.
Yeah, it's shaky.
Yes.
You can dance, but not.
Would you fall over if you try dancing on a boat?
No, but it's nice. It makes you move better.
Really? I didn't know. I've never tried dancing on a boat, so I'm not sure. Well, do you play any instruments as well?
No, I try to play on the piano while I'm doing my vocal exercises, but I play like a chicken, you know?
What's like a chicken? Oh, okay.
Stuff like that.
So, but you write your own lyrics and you compose melodies with the words that you write, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Well, we're going to talk more about your musical career in a few minutes. Just going to play a couple of songs here first. Macklemore, Ryan Lewis, and Ray Dalton Can't Hold Us. Also got some music from yours that we're going to play.
Are you going to translate them?
No, the Arabic songs, we'll play them in Arabic.
Bravo.
Now, of course I'm not going to. That's Tania Saleh وهي لا تحبك أنت right here on Nile FM. Thank you, Tania, for joining us. Sorry, I didn't put your mic on.
Thank you for having us.
We want to talk, of course, about Cairo Jazz Festival. This is not your first Cairo Jazz Festival, right?
It's not my first Cairo concert, but it's the first time I perform at Cairo Jazz Festival.
And are you doing the opening?
I think so.
You're تستفتحي
استفتاحية الموسم.
Yeah. Well, how do you find? Are you excited about it?
Of course I am. I'm always excited to come to Egypt because I really love the country, and I love working with musicians. The musicians in Egypt are very, very good. And I love the fact that I have a fantastic guest who is Hazem Shaheen, who's joining me in this concert. And I'm excited because, when you're in a lineup for a jazz festival, it means that they appreciate the music that you do. They don't get just anyone. So I'm really happy about that.
That's good. Well, you're playing on Thursday. You're playing on Thursday, right?
Yep.
Jazz Festival. Are you playing again during the festival or just on Thursday?
No, it's just on Thursday. It's the first time I come for only one concert because it happened very, it was not. They invited me not long ago, so we didn't have time to plan anything else. But it's already fantastic to be one of the people on their lineup.
Well, speaking of working with other musicians, you worked with Ziad Rahbani, both on stage and in the studio. And how was that like?
He's a great. What can I say about him? I love him. He's the love of my life. he's the school that I learned, all the things I know in Arabic music, and in jazz also, and in bossa nova. He was like he didn't know, but he was like the tutor of all the people, because we didn't know much about funk, for example, except, when we heard what he was doing with funk, we listened to funk. When we heard what he was doing with jazz, we listened to jazz. And I've been listening to him ever since I was a kid. I started listening to him when I was like 10 or 11. And so he without knowing, he educated our ears to what is good and what is, just light music. So now we know everything we know because mainly of him.
Well, speaking of things that teach us, you had to go through a civil war as a kid. Do you feel that this experience has affected you musically, not just with the music that you write, but making it difficult for you as a musician on the ground practically to practice music?
Yes, I think it has affected me in a way that when we were running, from place to place to hide and, to hide from the war, my mother used to listen to Fayrouz songs, and she used to cry, listening to the song about the country and crying. And so I was always wondering how can a song affect someone so much, So I had that in the back of my mind since then, thinking that maybe it's a good idea to have this power to affect. I didn't know that I was going to write anything or become a singer altogether. But I was impressed by the ability of the power of music to engage you, to take to wrap you around with these feelings. So that was a very good influence. And then the fact that we were during the war, Beirut was there was Sharq Beirut and Ghair Beirut, East and West. Yeah. So I was always trying to put myself in bands and to rehearse. And sometimes those bands were in the other side of Beirut, and I had to cross the border, and that was it was adventurous and it was dangerous.
Yeah, of course it was.
And that, being an adolescent was not, it was one of the things that made my mother go crazy.
I think as an adult you probably wouldn't have done that. It's because you were an adolescent, and that's what made you say, "Oh, I can do that. It's okay."
Of course, I can go where it's dangerous.
So it's not a big deal. Cross the border. So what?
No, what if I die? It's fun.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. Well, speaking of being an adolescent, family has taken some time, has taken you away from the stage for some time. It's for a few years you stopped performing because you got married and you had children, so you had to take care of your family. Do you feel that now at this point, how do you balance between your personal life and your musical career?
I don't have a personal life.
Music is now my personal life.
No, when they grew older, I didn't have to be there all the time, so that helps. And I really don't have a personal life. I don't have anything other than my work. So I work all the time, and I now this is my priority. I don't want to have lose time because I don't have much time. So I'm trying my best to concentrate on that now.
Do you still get stage fright?
Yes, every single time.
Yeah.
Not only that, I panic and I become nervous and I become intolerable.
Yeah.
Ask the people around me.
Well, we'll be talking more with Tania Saleh in a couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions for her, please SMS them 1042, tweet them, or Facebook them. Up next, Tom Odell and Concrete.
Nile FM.
That's Tania Saleh and Slow Down right here on Nile FM. If you're just tuning in, I'm joined by a Lebanese singer, songwriter, Tania Saleh. How are you doing, Tania?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, this is the only English song that you've worked on. It was part of a documentary that you did in the United States, right?
Yes, it was a documentary, a workshop / documentary. We had to go to LA and work with the American artists like Nile Rodgers, like Charlotte Caffey, like Reza, and a few more, and together we had this workshop, and then at the end of the workshop I had written this song before, so we suggested it and they liked it, and then it was part of a compilation called Desert Roses 5. Mm-hmm. There was another song in a compilation called Baghdad Heavy Metal. Also, that was made while we were in the US.
Well, you mentioned that you started off also, you painted in Paris. So I wanted to ask if there's anything outside of music that you do in life that affects your music, anything that's outside the circle of music that actually contributes to your music.
I make good tabbouleh.
Yeah? Does it help with the music?
Yeah. It does. Of course it does. It inspires me more.
I would love to eat it at some point. If you could share your recipe, maybe.
No, seriously, apart from music, I work on my graphic design and art direction and illustration work, which is how I live, because I don't really live from music. I don't do music to make money or live from it. But I have my work as a freelance illustrator, art director, which brings in some, cash every now and then.
And you use that to you spend that on your music.
I spend it on my music. I can confess that I really don't have much on the side left for my old age.
Well, as long as you're doing what you love, I mean, that's
I think
the
it's
important
a good
thing.
idea.
Yeah.
I think it is, because you have to live for the moment.
Yeah, but today it's a lot easier to get music out there. When you first started, the internet wasn't as widespread, and there was basically no such thing as social networks. But now the scene is very different. You find that it helps you get your music out there, and it helps you actually make more money out of your music.
No, it doesn't help me make money.
No,
because I get, piracy does not help you make money. But the way, of course, it has helped me a lot. To be known, because of all of the platforms there are, like I have my pages and people share, and all that has helped. I cannot deny that. But I don't make money out of it. I mean, unless you get like 100 million views on YouTube, and then you start to make money. I don't have that, and I don't, I don't make money out of music. But I think that in time, when I'm dead or something, they will make money out of the music. Because by then it would be interesting. I mean, Haram Haidi, the one who died, she was nice. Let's hear her. Yeah. Then maybe they will start selling more my CDs.
That's what happened with Van Gogh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, really, seriously, if you think of it, after David Bowie's death, he sold, I think, much more than he has sold while he was alive.
I don't know the numbers, but I'm assuming that, yes, when artists do die, there's a surge in sales.
Yeah.
That's true. But let's not look that far ahead. Let's not think about it. But as a designer, because you mentioned, do you think that the image of the musician is just as important as the talent? Less important? More important?
It's not, it's complementary. It's, of course, you have to be a good musician. You have to write nice songs, and sometimes people look really trashy and they make it. But I think that it's complementary. Even if you want to look trashy, you can. This is your image, but it's complementing the music that you do. And you can't only look good and not do good music. They complement each other. But in my case, I'm lucky that I'm into visual arts, and I have a lot of friends who help me with the music videos and with the animation, and that is really good. I'm lucky.
Well, I'm gonna ask you another question. ممكن تغني لنا حاجة؟
غني لك ايه؟ انت بتتكلم بالانجليزي.
بالعربي. لا بالعربي. انا لو عليا زي ما قلت ممكن اتكلم بالعربي. لا بالعربي طبعا.
بالعربي شو بدنا نغني لك؟ بغني لك بس شو بدي اغني لك؟
اي حاجة.
بدك تشيلي هيدا اللي ورا اصلا.
لا ما بشيله طبعا.
ساعدينا شوي انت. لا ما فينا نضيع وقت هالقد. اوكي. حبيتك تنسيت النوم، يا خوفي تنساني، حابسني برات النوم وتاركني سهراني. أنا حبيتك أنا حبيتك
Allah. That's well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I did also want to ask you, because there's a lot of underground musicians, especially in the Arab world now. It's a lot more than it used to be. And the question is, what advice would you give them?
Can I have a question myself?
You want to ask me a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is underground? Because I don't think there is a term that, functions anymore. Underground is for the musicians who play in the underground of maybe London or New York or Paris. What do we have to do with that?
I think more these days people use it interchangeably with independent artists.
And I don't like any of the terms. I think we should call it contemporary. Contemporary Egyptian music or Arabic music or Lebanese, whatever. But it is contemporary, and we shouldn't sound like anything imported. Because the term is imported, like Arab Spring was imported.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit us. We're not that kind of. We're not doing. I'm not doing this kind of music. I'm doing contemporary Lebanese music.
So, what advice would you give contemporary musicians?
I advise them to really do it. I mean, make music if they really think they have the talent for that, and no worries if they don't have, funding, because it's not always about the money. It's about their passion for that. And I mean, now even big bands in the world, they're not getting any funding, so we're all in the same, basket together. So just keep doing art and stay faithful to your talent, and don't drop it, don't give it up.
What do you think some of the mistakes that these contemporary artists make?
Some of them go into commercial music just because they think it's the best thing to do, because they want to also live from music.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that doesn't help in making the music varied. And I mean, it doesn't help the variety that we need in the Arab world. We cannot keep copying the same song over and over and over and over again.
If they compare themselves to other musicians and see, okay, so they're doing better than we are, so we should do what they're doing. It does. I mean, there's this formula, like in the U.S., in R&B and in jazz. No, not in jazz, gladly. In rock and pop music, there's this formula that people follow, and this formula has been working for a long time. Yeah.
So they all follow it. And in the Arab world, we import that idea, and we do the same song on the same formula. Even the music videos, they look like videos. They are, imitated and, cheaper, much cheaper than the original video. Where, like, if you see Beyonce dancing, she is a dancer.
Yeah.
And we don't have that. I mean, even if you are a commercial artist in the US or even in Europe, you have talent. Like Lady Gaga is a singer. I saw her perform a song, a Sting song. I was flabbergasted. She is fantastic.
I don't think anybody's ever used flabbergasted in an interview before. This is Arabs or foreigners or anybody, not even me. I've never.
It's too long a word for a show like this.
Nobody's ever used that word before.
No, but really, honestly, she is a musician. And what I mean to say is that even if you're a commercial artist in the West, you are talented. Here, unfortunately, they work only on the superficiality, that's another word for you. It's they stay on the surface of things. They don't go deep.
Yeah. Well, I want to play another song of yours. This one's called Wahde. And could you tell us a bit more about it?
It's funny because this word in Arabic means loneliness and unity at the same time.
Yeah.
So I found it interesting as a word to speak about our unity in the Arab world, our loneliness and our supposed unity, which is not the case. And speak also about how the Lebanese people are always looking for a wahde, a girl, and meaning also this wahde.
I don't think
unity.
Not just the Lebanese people. I don't think it's limited to just the Lebanese people.
Yeah, I know. No, but this is the insight. Like, it's a man looking for a wahde, but this wahde is the unity in the country that we all need. And in the end, the song says you should look for a national wahde, like one from min anna, yani, before thinking of a bigger unity. The other one will come later, but first find one here. Look, بعدين بيطلع لك أربعة غيرها.
We got more Tania Saleh coming up. Please stick around.
Nile FM.
I do have Tania Saleh with me in the studio. Tania, we were talking off the air about the current music scene, but before we get to that, Noor got in touch on Facebook. He's asking if you would please tell us about your favorite musicians in Egypt and in Lebanon.
My favorite musicians in Egypt, there's a lot, but the contemporary music in Egypt is interesting. I like Eskenderella, Dina Al-Walidi, Dor Al-Awwal, Fathi Salama, of course, he's a great teacher.
Yeah.
I like also musicians, the people who play with me. I like what they do. There's a lot of talent in Egypt. And in the commercial scene, I also like Shireen Abdel Wahab. And who else? think that's about it.
Shireen is with us on our label.
Yeah, I noticed. I like her a lot.
Speaking of the music scene here, how do you feel about the music scene, both in the Arab world and globally? Where do you think it's going? Where do you think it's headed? How do you feel? Do you think it's good?
I was telling you off air that I think there's this formula that they keep following because it sells. But like we were saying, like you told me, and you're right, that this formula is being broken and sometimes by people here and there. But these people are the ones who set the trends, and now there's going to be another formula later that they will follow because this guy, like for example, a song like we were saying, Lucas Graham.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of song. What's it called?
Lucas Graham, I think the song is called 7 Years.
7 years. Okay, this is something that went off the formula and works a lot. Now, I think people are going to follow this trend now. The problem is that people like to. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't like imitation. I like when it's original. I don't like when people do the same thing because it works.
I think pop music isn't where you go to look to find originality.
Yeah, you're right. No. That's not my kind of music anyway. But sometimes they surprise you. I mean, you find beautiful voices, beautiful dancers, beautiful harmonies, fantastic, performers.
You mentioned Sia. He was one of the artists that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, but I watched her live in Lebanon. She was. I didn't like it live, but I like her writing. I like the way she composes and this. She's fresh. I like to see Lady Gaga perform songs for covers. I saw her perform a song for Sting. She was really, really, really fantastic.
Do you feel that that there's room for growth for the music scene in the Arab world?
Of course. And after this revolution, period, people want to hear more about what's really happening on the ground. Like they really want to know what these young people have to say, and I think it's shifting slowly but surely.
So you think do you think contemporary artists should focus on a more political message?
No. It doesn't have to be political, but it has to be real. Like it has to be social. It has to be about us, we cannot keep on singing about love and we're hating each other all the time on the ground. It's
a good point.
I mean, it's weird, don't you think?
Yeah. That is a good point.
We should really talk about what's really going on. I think we are at the, like it's a similar era, like in the West it was in the 60s. It happened in the 60s where people started to really talk, revolutionize the music scene, and many bands emerged at that time. Crosby, Stills and Nash, Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, all those guys. They wrote about what was happening at that time. I think we are at this stage now.
Bob Dylan won the Nobel Prize for...
Yes, I was very, 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 very happy.
He's not picking up the phone when they're trying to call him?
Of course. I mean, he doesn't have... I mean, this guy is... guy is an exception.
You don't feel that it's a little rude?
I mean, it's Bob Dylan. He has the right not to pick up the phone. He's always been like that, and I respect the fact that he's maintained this kind of attitude.
Well, yes, if he's been rude his entire life, it's okay if he continues being.
I think if I were in his shoes, I would be, I would do the same because he's a fantastic talent, and people think that they can use him, and he doesn't want to be used, so he just shies away, and it's normal. I mean, for someone like him.
حقة الغيب معي. كده برضه.
No, but it's really fantastic for the musicians in the world to know that at some point a musician was awarded best poet. I mean, for his literary work. This is fantastic.
It is.
And he is my teacher, one of my teachers. I learned a lot from him.
I'm not a huge fan of Bob Dylan, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'm a very. Have you heard his? The early songs.
The problem is when you hear it. When you read it.
Then good. Don't hear it. I agree.
When you hear it, that's what ruins it for me.
It's not his music that is interesting. That we can.
It's his voice.
It's the way he sings and the way he writes. But this is the same chord over and over again. So
his voice is not very. I don't like his voice at all.
Yeah, you cannot like his voice. You're not supposed to like everyone, but you cannot deny the fact that he's a great poet.
Of course, yes.
You have to respect that.
That's something I can, of course.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking more about music with Tania in a few minutes. Just taking a short break. Stick around.
Nile
Avicii and Wake Me Up right here on Nile FM Drive. I'm still joined in the studio by Tania Saleh. If you guys have any questions, do send them in. And we are coming close to the end of our little chat here. But I did want to ask you, if you had the choice to do it all over again, would you do anything differently?
No.
No? It's a good answer.
No,
Okay.
I was thinking, what would I do differently? Nothing.
Yeah?
I'm happy with what I've done. I'm proud.
Okay. Well, what are you working on now?
I'm working on my next project is an audiovisual album, and it's Arabic poetry from all over the Arab world. It's poets who have written about their countries, and I put music to it, and you're gonna like that. It's electronic music this time.
Why did you think that I like electronic? I actually listen to heavy metal. That's what.
No, I mean it's the kind of music that is electronic, but not the commercial electronic again. So I'm using the electronic music and sounds to my advantage, because it's really what we are now. I mean, if you think of it, we're living in this kind of life.
Digital age, digital
age,
sound.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm using that in I hope in my favor, and I'm using also Egyptian and Tunisian musicians to help keep the shari there. Even though it's modern and it's electronic, the shari is still there. And I'm working on my illustrations and my calligraphy work as street art. So all that is going to, in the end have a concept. I'm not going to tell you all about the concept now, but it's
Not even a little bit?
I mean, the thing is that we have something that ties us as Arabs now. The only thing that ties us is the language, and I think, in my opinion, we should make use of it. And also the calligraphy, because the Arabic calligraphy is fantastic. Not only the calligraphy that was, that helped the Quran being written, the calligraphy that is there now, the calligraphy that the street artists use to make their art. I think we should make use of that too, because this is a great treasure. This is artistic treasure that we should, also keep alive.
I'm gonna last question. I'm gonna go full circle here. And when we started, and I said we're gonna have to speak in English, not in Arabic. So back to where we started from at the very end here. You mentioned that we as Arabs should do more to be proud of our heritage, and less to try to be other people.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. I think we had a lot going, I mean, at a certain time of our life, and like you said, it's the history repeating itself. Now, unfortunately, we are at the stage of decadence, and but the good times are gonna come back, like they were, here before. They should come back later, and we have done a lot. I mean, in art, in poetry, in science, in astronomy, in astrology, we have accomplished a lot. I mean, where did all that go? It's going to come back at some point.
Yeah,
and
a lot
we
of the
should work
big
on
discoveries
it.
were from Arabs.
Yeah, and we should work on it. If we don't work on it, if you don't believe that it's going to come back, then it won't. But that's why I'm telling you, we should be proud of our culture. We should be proud of our language, and we should speak more Arabic.
Sorry.
بسيطة.
أنا آسف والله.
بسيطة.
Okay, honestly, one last question, and this is probably the most important question. Are you a cat or dog person?
Dog person.
Oh man. I'm an animal person, but I only have cats, so that's it. Well,
I think cats are, don't get me wrong, but they are slimy. They don't
slimy?
do anything.
They're not slimy.
They just eat and sleep, and they're like I don't like cats.
They suit my lifestyle because I can't take care of a dog. I don't have the time or the energy.
It's true that dogs are more demanding.
Yeah.
It's true.
Tania, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and good luck on Thursday. And hopefully we'll see you in the next Cairo Jazz Festival as well.
I hope so. Thank you very much for having me.
Next time we will speak in Arabic.
خلاص وعد. عايزك تمضي بقى على ورقة وتديني.
هاتي لي الورقة وامضي دلوقتي حالا. All right, Tania, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, we got requests coming up this hour. Please send them in if you want. Flume and Kai up next. Never Like You.